Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Doreen Redmond from AARP North Dakota, and I'm so glad you've joined us for today's Passport to Healthy Living program on hiking around North Dakota. Taking these events online is one way that we can still connect with everyone and stay safe. For more than 60 years, AARP has been working to promote the health and well-being of Americans, and we're continuing that work with the Passport to Healthy Living program. We're excited to be talking about hiking today, and I'm joined by folks from here they are, the North Dakota Parks and Recreation Department, and they are Andrea Travnik, the director, and Matt Shenandoah, the interpreter at Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park, coming to us live from Fort Abraham Lincoln, just south of Mandan, and they're out there in the heat. Way to go, guys. Thanks so much to both of you for joining us. Andrea, please tell us a little bit more about hiking trails around North Dakota.
Great. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us today. It's just a pleasure to be on here and getting to visit with everybody. Of course, you can see that we're from Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park today, so we're coming at you live. A little bit about trails around the great state of North Dakota. We're very fortunate to have so many different types of landscapes and vistas throughout the entire state. So there's a lot of opportunities, hundreds of thousands of acres of public access, thousands of miles of trails. So that includes everything from your federal lands, state lands, you've got the national grasslands, you've got national parks. So you also have state recreation areas. But coming from the state park perspective, we've got 13 state parks throughout the state, and we also have a few different recreation areas, as well as an interpretive center. So your vistas from your hikes can include everything from the Badlands out in western North Dakota. You can also have a lot of the shoreline with Lake Sakakawea, the Missouri River, and of course, we've got our forested areas as well, up in the Pemmican Gorge area, Fort Ransom. So we just have a lot of different opportunities and a lot of different sites to see throughout the state.
Wonderful. And I think, Matt, are you going to tell us a little bit about some of those hikes that you're doing out there at Fort Abraham Lincoln, the 12 for 12 hikes?
Yeah, so out here at Fort Abraham Lincoln, we've got, we'll try to find the screen there, out here at Fort Abraham Lincoln, we've been hosting the 12-month 12 hike challenge for the last 5 years. It's a great opportunity for us to connect with the community and get them introduced to our trails here at the state park. We got about 8 miles of trails that run through the state park. We're right outside the metro area of Bismarck and Mandan. So it gives the community members a great opportunity to come out, connect with the community, connect with other people that have like interests of getting out, being active, being healthy on our trails. And that's an awesome opportunity that we have right here at Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park. So we kind of took all of that and built it into the 12-month 12 hike challenge, giving people kind of that incentive. So you come out, you hike every month with us, and you earn your annual state park pass to the next season. And so that again is another incentive just to keep coming back to the parks and coming back and exploring not just Fort Lincoln, but other parks and what they have to offer. This year, about halfway through the season, we kind of had to revamp our hiking challenge and not have as many group of people coming out. And so we basically went to a more social distance friendly of just establishing a set period of time where we would offer a guided hike, not a guided hike, but a hike that we would set up in the park. So through signage and through unique facts and things like that, people could actually take part in one of our May hike, June hikes, July, and still work towards completing that challenge. So hopefully 2021 we'll get back into our friendly group atmospheres of having hikes again as a group out here at the state park.
Oh, that's wonderful. I've been on some of those hikes. My husband and I have done some of those, and they're awesome. You guys do a great job out there at Fort Lincoln. So wonderful place to hike. So we're going to talk a little bit about your website. You've got a lot of trails, dozens of trails and maps and more. And in looking at it and kind of looking ahead, are there some that might be really good for people to take day trips and maybe even see some fall colors a little later in the fall? I know I'm kind of looking ahead a little bit, but are there some that might be good for that kind of thing for people?
No, definitely. I know it's hard to believe it's almost 100 degrees here today and we're already talking fall. But we know that those leaves start to change pretty quickly. And of course, that usually starts up in the northeast corner of the state. I think I'd mentioned the Pembina Gorge before, but there we've got 30 miles of trails that are continuous. You can see the continuous forest, just the vista that is there with the river. So you know that you would just have the breathtaking leaves that are within the area. And then, of course, a little bit closer to home, you've got Cross Ranch State Park, another great area to get out and see those leaves with the Mata, the river trail that's right there. Just amazing, you know, because that's a full loop around the state park there at Cross Ranch. So I would say that those would be two of the big ones right off the bat. Fort Ransom has a lot of your trees also. So just get out there. Yep. I don't know if Matt,
That's
you have
great.
other ones here too.
Yeah, well,
locally.
we actually will host a fall colors hike in September, about mid to late September, and that's usually when the leaves start to change here. We usually take the hike kind of up on the hills so you can get the grand vista view of the Missouri Valley area, the Heart River Valley area, see all those cottonwood trees that are starting to turn. And so we have some pretty good views that late September into October. As long as the wind doesn't hit us and take all the leaves off right away, we're golden.
That's right. The wind can mess up a lot of stuff, so we don't want that. But great. Well, we'll think about that because I think day trips are something that, you know, people are considering right about now. And just to get away from home for just a little bit and get out and somewhere new and hike, I think is a great way to see a little bit of North Dakota right now. So, hey, there's a lot of really nice hiking trails close to some of the urban centers around North Dakota, if you want to call Bismarck and Fargo and Minot and Grand Forks and some of those places urban. But can you tell us some more about some areas that people might be able to find and not have to go too far if they don't want to go on a day trip?
Definitely. For example, you've got the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center that is up there in Washburn, and that actually connects. Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center has a mile, cement miles that go right up to Washburn. So that is the Washburn Discovery Trail, and it actually is registered as a historic Lewis and Clark trail. So that is a really important one to try to get out on. If you're up in the Lake Metagoshi area, you've got about an 11-mile loop also that is paved, so that's close to Lake Metagoshi. I know it's a little bit farther from Botno, but of course here in Mandan area you've got a trail that goes all the way from Mandan that can get you all the way out here to Fort Abraham Lincoln. So there's always those opportunities. It's great when we can link up our state parks to the local communities, make sure that everybody can kind of link together. And we're just very fortunate too with all those different counties, cities, all those local park districts with the availability of trails that they have as well.
Oh, that sounds great. And another one that I saw you guys had was the Icelandic State Park one up there near Cavalier, and there's some really beautiful biking and bike sharing and things like that up there as well.
Yeah, I was actually just up in that area on Thursday, so I was fortunate to be able to be near the park and actually see that they had just paved that brand new trail that's all the way from Icelandic State Park all the way to Cavalier. So pretty amazing opportunity for people.
That sounds really, really good. Okay, Matt, anything else you'd like to add about some of your paved trails that you have down in that area? I know you've got just a lot going right around the Fort Abraham Lincoln area too.
Yeah. You know, Andrea mentioned the paved trail that comes from Mandan, and actually that continues even farther into Bismarck. So it's the Missouri Valley Millennium Legacy Trail. And so that comes all the way from Bismarck. So if you're on any of the trails that are in the park systems around Bismarck, they all kind of interconnect. You can get on those, connect across the bridge, and you can get all the way out to Fort Lincoln. And we actually do have a lot of people that bike from Bismarck out to Fort Lincoln. It's kind of one of those day jaunts. They get out, get some coffee out here if you're out here during the summer, or just get something to drink. We even have a Shields Fix-It station here. We had to put one of those in because we had a lot of people that get out here and go, I got to fix my bike before I head back into town. And so that's a great opportunity to really go that long distance, get some good city view, but also some good views of the Missouri River. And then we have a lot of people that want to do not just the pave, but they want to take the paved out here, but then get on our single track trails. So they'll take the pave, get that little warm up, and then they'll take a loop on our single track mountain bike trail to kind of get that more extreme edge before they head back into town. So you can get a lot just by biking from Bismarck and Mandan just out here to the state park.
Awesome. And I love that Missouri Valley Millennium Legacy Trail, the one goes right along the river. It just, you feel like you're walking in a canopy of trees, and it's wonderful. So lots of good ones on the Mandan side too of the river. So wonderful. Well, great. Thanks for all that good stuff. Hey, what are some things that people should keep in mind when they go hiking? Do you have some, rules or, advice, guidance for people?
Definitely. I mean, I think first and foremost, when you are going out on the trail, and if you're going alone, you want to make sure that you're letting folks know where you're at. Also, you probably want to make sure that you've got adequate water. You also want to make sure that you have the right footwear, whether that's hiking shoes is usually what I go with. Sometimes, though, you never know if you're going to be running on the trail, so the right running shoes. Also, sometimes you might want to have some snacks with you too, just in case. Also, sunscreen, bug spray, first aid kit. It's just enough to have something in your backpack that you have with you because you just don't know what you might come across. I mean, in other states, you've got to have the bear spray, right? So you just want to make sure that you have the right supplies for the type of trail you're going to be on. Is it going to be a 2-mile trail? Is it going to be a 10-mile trail? So you just want to make sure you have some resources with you. Another thing is a compass, and sometimes your cell phone doesn't work in certain places. So I think those are just a few things that you would want to make sure that you have packed in with you. Matt, anything for here?
Just letting people know where you're going, even a small trail, we always recommend, you let someone know where you're going. Because even here at Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park, we're not a huge, vast park. We have some trails, but they do get up in the hills. And so we're not monitoring the trails 24/7 looking for people. So even a small sprained ankle or something like that can really, as long as you let someone know when you've headed out and when you're supposed to be back, that way, if you don't get back or you don't check in, someone knows that they can get a hold of a park personnel, park ranger to go check the trail and look for an individual. And that can happen on the shortest trails. It doesn't have to be a 10-mile, 12-mile, 15-mile trail. It can even happen on a 2-mile trail that wraps through a park. And so it's always a good idea to, really let someone know what you're doing and just keep in touch.
Yeah, I was just out at Sully Creek State Park a couple weeks ago, and I still check in with my parents before I'm out there by myself, and knew that I was going to be gone for an hour. And I said, this is where I'm parked, and if you don't hear from me, definitely check in. So it's important.
That is a really good idea. And I think sometimes we get too reliant on our cell phones. And when you said sometimes they don't work out in some of those Western North Dakota or wherever you might be, and so that's a good idea to take along a real compass and not rely on the one from your phone. But we've got a couple questions coming in, and I'll jump to one of them here, and then we'll come back to some of our other things. But we have a question from Rena saying, are there any plans to develop or maintain the trail among the historic cottonwood trees south of the Sanger campground? Believe there used to be a trail there. Signage is still there, but the trail is no longer maintained. Think the land is maybe part of the North Dakota Forest Service. So I don't know if either of you are familiar with that area, if that's something you can address now, or we could look into and get Rena the answer later.
Yeah, no, I've been out in that area, and we're actually doing a master plan right now at Cross Ranch State Park. So definitely an opportunity to be looking into that. I haven't officially been on that trail yet, but now hearing that feedback can get out there. So I don't know if it is on the state forest land, or if it is on the state park land. But knowing how important trails are, and it is a beautiful area down there. So we'd be glad to get out there, take a look. And but it's good to know that other folks are getting out to that area. So
yeah, and interested. So that's awesome.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right. Thank you, Rena.
definitely.
And we
Thank
have
you.
a question here from Kristen. Hey, Matt and Andrea, what are your favorite hiking trails in North Dakota?
Oh, I know. I've got a couple. Just because I have been getting up to the Pembina Gorge a lot more, so there are a lot of those non-motorized trails that are out there. But then also, I do like the Ridgeline Trail that's in Fort Ransom. That's another important one too. I think I've said Fort Ransom like 3 or 4 times. Doesn't mean it's my favorite, but
Beautiful.
and then of course we do have some of those national trails, the Mattahay Trail. And the North Country Trail as well. So got to put a plug in for those just because they do expand a lot of the part of our state as well. So great opportunities. Matt, your favorite?
Well, I have to kind of, give a shout out to my park here. I
Of
spend
course.
I spend a lot of time on the trails out here running and hiking, probably once a week covering the trails. So I really like the trails here at Fort Abraham Lincoln. Outside of Fort Abraham Lincoln, one of my favorite spots is up in Lake Winnegoche on the trails up there that kind of run towards the Canadian border. And you kind of get into that area of trail where there is just nothing around you besides just the raw nature of the Lake Winnegoche, Turtle Mountain areas. And so you get up in there and it's just absolutely beautiful. you don't hear any cars, you don't hear any sounds, you just hear the nature around you. So that's a really good trail, and I like running that one when I get up there and get to do some activities up in that north part of the state.
Yeah, and I'm finally going to be getting out to Little Missouri State Park here in the next couple of weeks, and I'm hearing that could be one of my new favorites as well, because it's similar to some of the Theodore Roosevelt National Park Badlands. So lots of vistas, lots of areas.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. And yeah, we are getting some ideas from people on Facebook earlier today about Western North Dakota trails and suggesting that we talk about those. So, hey, one of the other things, when we talk about gear too, and like bringing along binoculars, maybe do some birding, maybe do some geocaching. We actually had a question about geocaching. Are there some state parks that have geocaches to find while hiking?
Yes, we actually have quite a few up at the Icelandic State Park. So we've got some up there. We have some at the Interpretive Center. I believe we have some at Turtle River State Park. I think we've got 8 or 9 of our state parks actually have the geocaches. So it's pretty amazing to just be able to. I was actually in the Fargo-Moorhead area and was learning from some of those geocachers out there, because I think we're thinking about putting in some other opportunities throughout our parks too related to that. So stay tuned on that.
Okay, and I bet those are on your website too. You have that information shared on there, I'm sure, on which ones are good for geocaching, which ones are good for birding, or both, and that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
I think there's some
flowers, birding, wildlife. So
awesome. So whatever your interests are.
Yeah, exactly. And make sure to give the wildlife space. I think we've all seen a couple of those live shots coming from South Dakota and Montana recently. So make sure that you give that wildlife room.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. I'll tell you what, I had some wildlife in my yard the other day. I had a skunk that I left. I gave it a lot of room. So you bet. I came within 10 feet of it and I gave it a lot of room after that. So anyway, I hear ya. So great. See, we have another question here. Question from Ellen, wondering about the plans to develop the land in Bismarck that is east of Ducks Unlimited. There's a big field there, and I think they're going to do some trails perhaps and some hiking trails. Do you folks know anything about that, or is that more a Ducks Unlimited thing and we could follow up with some information from them? Would that be?
I do know that is more of a Ducks Unlimited thing, but Matt, being more local, might have a little bit more of the idea. But I know that Ducks Unlimited has been working really closely on that.
Yeah, I think that's a City Parks, Ducks Unlimited.
Yeah.
They're working at developing that land into a kind of a nature conservatory with trails and things that are going to kind of weave through that space.
Sure. Okay. Well, that's great. Well, that was one question that we had come in too. We have another one here from Amy Jo about self-guided interpretive trails to explore. Are there some that we should think about there?
Yeah. Well, so there we have a few of them across state. One of us is the Old Oak Trail in Lake Metagoshi. Is a kind of a nature interpretive trail that you can walk. It has little markers that talk about the different things. You can get the flyers, I believe, or brochure that talks about the different nature plants and animals that you're going to see on that trail. We actually have one here at Fort Abraham Lincoln called the Young Hawk Interpretive Trail. And so that goes around a ridge. I think it's like 1.75 miles roughly. And again, you get a brochure and then those little markers along the way that talk about the different plants, different animals that you might see in those certain spots, as well as ours kind of touches on some of the historical features and landmarks that you'd see in the area as well.
Got it. Excellent. Wonderful. Okay. And another question I have too, are all of these trails mostly open year round, or do some of them get pretty much shut down, or are they pretty much available for everyone year round?
Yeah, most of our trails are open year round. Over on the western side of the state with Sully Creek and Little Missouri, those are more seasonal. And then of course with those trails, besides the hiking in the winter, you also are able to do the cross-country skiing, snowshoeing. So a few of our parks like Fort Stevenson, Lake Sakakawea, some of those across Ranch, you've got a lot of different opportunities to be able to get out there in the winter as well.
Wonderful, because fresh air is important all year round, and we don't want to get cooped up. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
And keep moving, keep moving. Hey, another question came in. What is the biking etiquette on the trails when approaching runners or hikers? Do you have any advice for trails and etiquette in that regard?
Yeah, I think it's just one of those, just being aware of your surroundings for sure. And I know that a lot of people sometimes have the earbuds in, but I think you want to make sure that you're always listening. And I do know that when I've been out running and you've got bikers, they usually are trying to say, "Hey, we're coming around on the side of you." And I think it's just trying to be cautious of each other. I mean, both folks, whether it's horses, bikes, runners, everybody should be able to use the trail. And I know sometimes, sometimes there's a little bit of competing interests on that, but just give each other space. Take the time, enjoy your time out there. Don't get frustrated by the others that are out there.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's good advice. Just be kind, be nice, and let people know you're there. So, yeah, very good. Hey, this has been really informative. Any last things that you'd like to share here before we wrap this up? We have your website here. We have your how to find you. So I think that's awesome. But you tell us anything else you'd like to add.
Yeah, no, great. Well, thanks for putting the website up there. I know that we're just looking forward to continue to get those visitors out to our state parks throughout the state. I know that it's just been one of those interesting summers with the situation that we're in right now, and sometimes that anxiety where everybody's a little bit more anxious. So just take the time, get outside, find a trail. There's usually one really close to home, whether that's a community park, state park, national forest, national wildlife refuge. So just get out there, enjoy being outside, any type of season too. I mean, I know we got the summer, the 100-degree day today, but I still love being outside. And like you said, we've got the fall leaves coming up, and then the winter. And I think getting outside is even going to be more important this winter too. So take the time to try something new. I'm going to try snowshoeing for the first time this winter, and so I haven't done it before, and really looking forward to that. And so maybe we'll get some new folks trying some new things out this winter too, as we're all looking for different opportunities to do something, to be outside. So just really appreciate the time today. And if there are further questions that come in, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I think we're always wanting to share the amazing opportunities that we have at our state parks.
That is awesome. We just had one more come in about where to get trail maps. So if you want to just address that, one of you, that'd be great.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and this probably falls right in line with that, is if you have questions, don't hesitate to contact the park directly through their, Facebook page, social media, whatever, or just give them a call. They're the best ones to contact if you have questions about trails in that park, because they're the ones that are out there on the trails. They're the ones that know firsthand what the trail conditions are, especially during the wintertime. If we've got a fresh snow, if they've been groomed yet, a lot of those things people kind of just go, well, I don't know if I want to contact them, but, give them a call, send them a message on social media. Those are all different types of things. In terms of trail maps, every one of our parks has a park map. All the trails that are on those parks are listed right there. You can grab a park map either at the entrance station, the park visitor center. Those park maps are also available online at each one of the park's individual kind of sub-site within the main website. And so the trails are listed on there, and you get all the information of the distance, where they start, kind of the level of expertise you need on them, things like that. But like I said, just, feel free to contact the park, and we are here to help you get out there and explore those trails and make you feel comfortable on them, for one.
Oh, that's great. And you guys have a Facebook page, and your parks have Facebook pages. So if people are in that mode, they can find you there, or they can find you on your website. So that is great. You guys, thank you so much, Andrea and Matt. You've both been just awesome and filled us with lots of great ideas for getting out there and hiking. I know I get tired of walking around my neighborhood. I do a lot of that, and I just need to get out somewhere else sometimes, and trails are great, and you've got lots of wonderful ones on your website. So thanks a million, and thank you for helping us understand this better. So just a reminder to everyone, be sure to consult your doctor before starting a new exercise regimen. And please join us next month at 3 p.m. on the third Wednesday. We're going to be doing something different next month. We're going to be doing a Capital City historic tour, and we're going to be with Paulette Bullinger. We're going to be exploring some of the interesting buildings downtown and learning about some of the folks that lived here long ago and in your capital city here in North Dakota. So with that, and also I want to remind you too, these programs are all being recorded so that they can be viewed later. You'll find them on our YouTube page, on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/AARPND. And thank you again for joining us for the online Hiking Around North Dakota program with Andrea Travnik and Matt Shannondor of the North Dakota Parks and Recreation Department. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next month.